this now is a problem with recording on phones, right? This auto exposure. It go dark and it go light and it dip in dark and go light. Which is very, very annoying. Very annoying. Anyway, I want to address this issue of reparations again. And I want to thank one of my viewers in the UK for keeping me up to date with certain topics. So calls intensify for reparations to be paid to Caribbean people. Now before I start reading the article, let me explain what happened. So when slavery was abolished by the British Empire in 1833, the government borrowed £20 million to pay off the slave owners, basically buying the freedom of the Africans. So buying the freedom of the people who were enslaved. They didn't just say, oh, this is outlawed, go find something else do. Pay these people reparations. They pay off these people. That's what they did. They pay them off. So up until 2015, this 2015, 3 years ago, up until 2015, taxpayers in the UK were still paying off this loan that the British government borrowed to pay off slave owners. So there are Jamaicans alive today. There are there are Jamaicans alive today in under 30 years old who contributed to paying back beneficiaries of slavery. Your tax money went to paying off beneficiaries of slavery. So people who hold title to these loans benefiting off the backs of African people. You yourself, you Jamaican people migrated to the UK, you African people migrated to the UK, you native people to England and all of the countries in the UK, you were paying taxes, you were paying money, you were paying off beneficiaries of slavery. That's what your tax dollars were doing. You might say I grin from my face, but I'm not smile. I'm just really surprised by the whole thing. I'm not laughing. So there are renewed calls for the British government to return, and this is from IRIFM.net. There are renewed calls for the British government to return millions of dollars to the Caribbean to ensure its development arising from slavery. Chair of the Caribbean Reparations Commission, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, wants the Caribbean to take on the reparations matter with more urgency. He was speaking at a press conference this morning at the Center of the Reparations Research at the University of the West Indies, Mona. He explained that information is now available, which indicates that up to 3 years ago, in 2015, the British government was paying back a £20 million loan to owners of the enslaved. That is valued at £16 billion today. Sir Hilary noted that Britain and other European nations have argued that they will not and cannot apologize for crimes against African people because slavery and the slave trade were legal activities and that they occurred a long time ago and are not subject to any form of settlement. He said further that in September 2015, when the Prime Minister David Cameron visited the Caribbean and spoke in Jamaica's parliament, he expressed the view that slavery was in the past and should be forgotten and people should move on. He notes that with payments being made up to 3 years ago, thousands of Caribbean people who have been living in England for the past few decades have been paying back the owners of enslaved through taxes. Now this brother David Cameron, remember me did do a video about this, you know. When this brother say we must forget about slavery and slavery in the past, right? And it was the same brother who was saying that Jewish people should never forget the Holocaust. They should never forget the Holocaust. We African people should forget centuries and the decades and the decades and the decades and the decades upon decades of slavery and torture and rape and murder and genocide. We should forget all of that. But your European brothers of the Jewish faith should never forget the Holocaust. But David Cameron is not a racist. So let me play these two audio clips that they have in this article.
All of us should take this matter personally because I'm sure all of us have family and friends who have been working in Britain in the last 70 years. And just to imagine that your family, my family, working in Britain, in the factories, on the buses, on the trains, their taxes have been used to pay the slave owners until 3 years ago. It's a great act of global immorality and it has to be addressessed. And the CARICOM Reparations Commission will be indeed urging the governments of the Caribbean to insist that this information is once again placed before the governments of Europe, because the reparations conversation must now take place in earnest. So here we are today looking at poverty in the Caribbean. Britain giving independence to these countries and telling them you are now independent, go away, leaving this enormous burden of poverty in the Caribbean. A large number of people, massive illiteracy, massive ghettoization, massive unemployment, industries that are not competitive, agriculture that is not modern. And Britain says, after extracting all of this wealth, go away and develop. Our argument has been all along that Britain owes the Caribbean a development program. After 500 years of wealth extraction, and particularly this notorious slave loan that has been extracting wealth out of the Caribbean until 2015, Britain has a moral and legal obligation to put this money back in the Caribbean for the development of the Caribbean peoples. And this is what we have been saying in the reparations movement. Britain and Europe needs to return that money to the Caribbean that they have extracted. And now we have proof of even greater extraction into 2015 of the slave loan.
So can you imagine that since 1962, if we had leaders who weren't like petty bourgeois, if we had leaders who really cared about the cause of African people, if we didn't jump on this out of many one people thing, if we focus on our heritage and we focus on justice for black people in the Caribbean, and we tailored our education system to put the issues like this at the forefront of political discussion, if we place the cultural relevance and issues like this, if we tailor the education system to just be pro us, be pro our cause, can you imagine the unison that our country would be moving in calling for the British government to respond to this issue sufficiently? Right now, if we did have an education system where they just tailor to the needs of our people, and not just some generic history and generic politics and generic every frigging thing. You think we young people them would have out there scam? Would have scam and a shoot and a kill them one another? A people where their mind hollow, them not have nothing in them frigging head because I never put nothing in them head. Where significant, where make them have a deeper, higher purpose in our life, a greater purpose. That's why you see them life just go to waste. So. That's what you create here, waste people. Them not have no purpose for earth. If me go try discuss something like this to one of them look at me and them start get headache because them can't even think about it. Just imagine where would that be? Where would that be if the people them were in charge of the education system and in charge of the government did really care about the people and the cause of the people? Them issue would this is what people would have in the streets a fight about. Them wouldn't ball over people, a lay down on ground, a funeral will get shoot up. Wouldn't worry about state of emergency. This is what them things is what we would have fight for. Instead of waste with life and waste with time. And now we have waste resources that try fix sore. Like me I bet you say about 80% of the country of Jamaica don't even know what word reparation mean. And that me I tell you now. And them, even if them know what it mean, they wouldn't even understand where Jamaica fall and Jamaican people fall in this fight for reparations. Because the education system fail with. And we always pretend, we always pretend like say we have one of the best education system in the world, We always do that. Because when Jamaican students, generally when we go abroad, we do good. We do good in the school then. But trust me when I tell you, say, our education system in Jamaica fail majority of it. Majority, even the one them will come out bright and brilliant, them lacking in a certain area way. No amount of brilliance, no go give you the purpose in a life where you need. If you not get certain relevant knowledge. About self. Anyway, this is what is happening in the world. Beneficiaries of slavery were still being paid up until 2015. But we should forget slavery like it's some ancient thing that doesn't affect us today, and we should move on. That's why you always hear me talk, say, oh, I not go certain places, and these are the reasons. You see me, I mean, I really not people who live there and them thing there, and people who migrate to them places, but my gosh, man, conflicted. Me even conflicted about being in the United States. Sometimes I feel like I just, if I suffer Jamaica, I just go Jamaica and suffer. I'm more happy, I'm more content, knowing that, I am where I am supposed to be. And that is why I will be moving back to Jamaica, and I don't care what nobody says. I don't care what nobody says. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye. Bless.